Welcome back to another video of me, this time rundowning the patch notes of 14.22 together with Mortdog. Like, we just go through his patch notes and I'm gonna react to what he's saying and make up my mind and share my experience about the last patch. So what I think are going to be the major changes and how it affects the game.
Hey everybody, Riot Mort, the last patch of Magic and Mayhem. And this is the one that all the championships will be played on. So
here we basically experienced that it's going to be the last patch, which is very sad because I really like the set, apart from the charms, what I already said. But overall, I'm very happy that we get a new set. But I also really liked to play this set, especially Sugarcraft and some other comps I really enjoyed. You have seen it on stream.
So this is a big deal. This is about as good as, when it comes to competitive balance, this is what it needs to be. That being said, we're not going to radically change the meta or anything like that. There's not a bunch of changes. If anything, most of the changes we're doing here are focused on removing some things we wouldn't be okay with happening at the championship, or just stuff we find players aren't really enjoying. So let's dive right in, get into it, and talk about the changes. First off, on the portal side, treasure golems. This was a fun experiment. We tried it. It wasn't very fun. You just put your golem up front every game, backline everything else, and pray?
Really didn't like treasure golems. Exactly like trainer golems, I'm not a huge fan of these golem or any kind of more randomizer than already actually in the game, because we have a lot of RNG. Game is already RNG based. If you have 2, 3, 4 people playing the same trainer golem, game is already over. You know that the other people are gonna win. There's almost no chance that you can do anything properly. Treasure golems the same. The more experience you have with treasure golems, the better you're gonna play, but already more set it. You just backline your team and it's not really gonna work out. So nice thing that it's disabled.
It wasn't really an interesting portal, so it's gone for now. So yeah, goodbye treasure golems. I think usually it was picked because people thought it was wandering golems, so but this portal's gone. Bye treasure golems. Sorry, Roger. All right, on the trait side, our Arcana Tom Kench is being nerfed just a little bit more. Honestly, debatable if it really needs it at this point, but it's such a tiny nerf it shouldn't matter anyway. But Tom Kench 4 and 5 gets a small nerf to some of those endgame comps. And then the Xerath true damage is actually, we're going to undo the nerf at 3. So Xerath, if you want to go Arcana, use that Xerath, get that true damage. That's going to be buffed at 3, just a small amount.
Okay, these changes are not that huge. I don't think that it will do anything, like Mort already said, but especially for splashing Tom Kench randomly, for example in a blaster comp or something, will definitely take out some frontline power, which we experienced a lot in last patch with 6 vanguards, for example. So this is kind of interesting. And Xerath, oh my god, I have seen so many Xerath splashes last patch. Literally every comp late game when I went 10, they had at least one Xerath in their team. Not most even went Xerath 2, because it's just so powerful. If you can protect him with a proper front line, it's amazing. Very, very nice thing to do here.
That way the increase from 2 to 3 actually feels substantial. So, yeah. Chrono 2 has been really, really strong all set. It's going to be a little less strong, but Chrono is also suffering a bit, not really doing well. There's some champion buffs we'll talk about.
Yeah, same feeling for me. Chrono, we didn't see it last patch a lot. When people hit 4 Chrono, it rules sometimes, but it is always in a time. You hit your 4th Chrono when already people are in high-end charms, so you can mostly counter it with very powerful charms, I would say. So yeah, not a huge change, but I like to see the buff on 4-piece Chrono here.
But the 4-piece AP will be stronger, so if you can go to 4 Chrono, you should be a lot stronger with that 10 extra AP.
Definitely.
Should be solid there. And this doesn't affect the 6-piece heal. The 6-piece heal is still a massive amount. So Eldridge, we're getting close. We've been buffing Eldridge the last couple patches. Eldridge is really, really close. Thankfully, we don't have to do any giant HP ratio things or anything like that. But the big buffs here is that the 5-piece spell only lasted 4 seconds. Now it's going to last 8.
Oh,
You should be able to get some big chain lightnings and feel pretty good about that.
nice.
And then the 7-piece spell is going to give 60% attack speed instead of 40%.
Here, I would say I've read a lot of comments, like especially about reactions to last patch. And a lot of people I saw talking that Eldritch is only a early game splash for them. Like as long as you don't have your comp where you want to go, like for example shapeshifters or any other stronger comp, you take these Eldritches just for a little bit of extra HP on your board and for the golem to have a little bit of like bonus units. But nobody actually played Eldritch all out, like 7-piece Eldritch or even 10, because it's so hard to reach because the comp itself is just weak. So I really like to see the 5-piece increase here. I think last patch we also had a 5-piece increase, which is nice to see that when you hit 5 early, you can actually dominate the board, get at least some win streak. And 7-piece, which is also reachable without like tons of spatulas. It's pretty nice to see, and I really like this upgrade here, and Eldritch definitely needs it to be a single board comp, like not just splashed, but also like properly pivoted into.
So yeah, Eldritch should be a little bit better.
Yep.
Frost fallen off a bit. Part of that is because Frost can't kill Rakan. Another part of that is because Frost is struggling a bit. So 5 and 7 Frost is going to get 5 more AD and AP to help it out as it reaches the mid game. So Frost should be a little bit better. Honeymancy.
I think there's not a lot to say to Frost. I mean, it's good that they buffed it. Haven't really seen it in top 4 a lot last patch, but definitely nice to see it. So actually people can go Frost again, and the other meta comps are a little bit more contested with, like, for example, Olaf and Twitch and Hunter comp, or like Swain 3. We saw so many last patch in Shapeshifters. So it's actually nice to see them a little bit more contested here.
Ever since the bug fix has been close to unplayable. So Honeymancy is going to get buffed up. Damage dealt is going to go up to 1% at 3, 2% at 5, 2% at 7. And damage received goes up at 5 and 7 as well.
Also really nice. Honeymancy, I felt like it's a little bit weak. And when you go Honeymancy reroll and you're contested, it was impossible to play. And I think comps shouldn't be absolutely unable to be played when they're contested, especially not reroll comps, because you have lots of units in the pool and you should get to your 3-star units at some point without like losing all your gold and everything. So it's actually nice to see that they buffed it a little bit, because they deserve the buff. It's a very fun comp. You have some very strong combinations. You can be very creative with it. So it's very nice to see that buff here on Honeymancy. Oh, and the augments, like Zap Attack and what was the other one? Sweet Tooth really needed some bonus here. It's very nice to see that.
Hopefully this gets Honeymancy into a spot where it's actually a pickable line and could win a few games.
Yes, would be great.
That's it on the trait side on the large. On the small, 4 Blaster. The problem is 4 Blaster really, really kind of suffering. 6 Blaster is great, but trying to play 4 is just really, really tough. So giving it a small buff to its post-cast damage amp.
I think also Blaster really needed that buff, because you cannot craft Blaster emblems. So, I mean, in Make 'em Cook, for example, you cannot play Blaster. It would be nice to see more Blaster in the comps where you don't get spatulas and everything. Or even if you get spatulas, it would be nice to see some Blaster players. So this is actually nice with 4-piece Blaster to get some buff. Also gives Smolder a little bit of buff, which I feel like since he's randomly moving, it's very nice to see Blaster a little bit buffed. So even when your Smolder dies, the rest of the team does something.
So it's going to go from 60 to 65.
Nice.
Hunter 6-piece has been one of the S-tier comps that's been doing really, really well, which is good. Hunter 6 is fine, but little too good. So Hunter 6 is going to go down 5 AD before the kill, 10 AD after the kill.
I made a video. Sadly, I didn't upload it on YouTube yet because I didn't have the time to make a nice intro and everything, but I think I'm gonna do that anyways, where I didn't reach Wukong 3 and I didn't reach Jinx 3, and I still dominated the game with 6 Hunters. With absolutely disgusting. This comp is so freaking strong. It's just insane. If you have them itemized very well, crazy powerful. So definitely nice to see a nerf here. Still, I think since they also suffer with other comps increase, can make him even weaker. But I think overall it's a fine nerf here.
Mage 7, certainly the mage buff worked. Even after the B patch, mages are still quite good at 7. A couple different lines you can play. Definitely not like S tier, but like right below. But so 7 mage is going to get a 5% nerf here.
I don't know. Didn't really see the very powerful mage. Yeah, there was a lot of mages in top 4 comps. But as soon as somebody reaches, like, for example, 9 Frost or 9 Fairy or like 8 Portal or like 8 Shapeshifters, 8 Witchcraft, everything beat mages. So I don't really know if 7 mages need a nerf. I mean, until other people reach a certain crazy comp, they're powerful, yes, but not really sure if the nerf here is relevant or like if it's really good for mages to actually keep them in a playable spot. But we will see later in the comps when we go through them.
We're not going to nerf, 3 and 5. We're not going to nerf their opener.
Yeah, definitely not.
With, like against a mage opener of like Vex and Soraka and Seraphine, still going to be just as strong. It just won't cap out quite as hard.
Okay, yeah.
And then 6 Scholar was the other one. 6 Scholar is going to go from 15% healing to 10% healing.
Was very strong.
That 10 mana per auto. It still gets that 20 AP. Just a little less healing. So, yeah. Again, no major shifts here. So, yeah. All right. On the 1 cost side, Jax. Jax is kind of trying to help Chrono and Multi-Striker, but he doesn't have a real weapon and kind of dies really quick. So Jax has not been doing that well. So Jax, we're going to give 15 more armor and MR during his spell at all levels.
But I've seen a lot of Jax 3s with, I think it's called Exodia items. And I think it's pretty powerful. It carries you through until you can actually reach your Camille or like Karma. So not really sure. Like, I mean, he get a defense buff, which gives him more sustain. But Jax was powerful last patch, in my opinion at least.
This should make him pretty tanky and a much more exciting opener. So hopefully if you can get a Chrono opener with the Jax 2 or even the Jax 3 line with Ashe, should be pretty good. And then Warwick. Warwick is getting a really big buff here.
Yo, that sounds crazy, yeah.
He's going to go from 60 to 70, and his healing at 1 and 2, so when he gets there is going to be great. Now, for everyone wondering, well, that's just going to make Corrupted Vamp Scepter Warwick OP, you'd be right, but we'll get to that change in a minute. But because of a different change,
I've seen that.
The buff Warwick without Corrupted Vamp Scepter is really, really terrible. And so this is our way of saying,
Cannot really say that, especially in early game. Warwick is pretty disgusting if he has 3 items, so.
Hey, you can actually consider playing Warwick without Corrupted Vamp Scepter. So, yeah. All right, 2 costs. This is the area that's
a lot of changes.
Change right now is 2 costs. Ari feels close to being playable, but isn't quite there at the highest level.
Ari is not playable. Such a bad champion. It's almost as bad as Neela. It's holy. She's not even a good item holder for most of champs because you cannot build proper items on her because she cannot really make use of it because she's wasting her spell. Like, it's a single target spell. It's just not that great.
So Ari is going to get another very small buff here.
That's huge.
5% at most. So Ari is going to get buffed. Neela, another champion, getting a pretty big buff here, 10% base AD. That being said,
she needed this.
Kind of take damage and die, but we'll see. But this should help Neela, as well as it kind of helps Eldridge as well. Rumble's going to get 10 off that mana. Rumble, kind of like the best opener you can get. I'm a little sad for Sugarcraft here, but this was necessary, especially with the power of Vanguard. So Rumble's going to get a 10 mana nerf.
I didn't believe like Rumble was a very strong unit. I feel like he's not really tanky and anything, like especially in early game. You almost need to hit 4 Vanguard to actually make him powerful. So the Rumble nerf here hurts me personally as a Sugarcraft enjoyer. But I mean, if you have Vanguard was very strong, but I haven't seen it in top 3 or top 2 lately. So yeah, okay, but it is what it is.
Shyvana has definitely been one of the toughest things to deal with this patch.
Okay.
So we're lowering her base HP by 50. We debated a bunch of different nerfs, including lowering her spell damage and stuff like that. But Shyvana is meant to be a carry. So she is meant to do damage. We're happy that Shyvana is finally being playable. That being said, when that Shyvana also has, 2,000 health and you're struggling to get through it, that's a little much. So 50 base health here is going to be a pretty big nerf. it's going to hit the shapeshifter,
Yeah.
it's going to hit her transform, you know. So she'll be a little less tanky. So hopefully that hurts the shapeshifter fast 9 kind of stuff you see. And then Syndra's going to get another buff here. I think we've been buffing her every single patch since that first patch after we nerfed her. Will this make her playable? Probably not still. Again, we couldn't go heavy on the Worlds patch here. Maybe if you have a really strong Syndra opener, there might be a line. It does help Eldridge as well. But do I think this is going to magically make Syndra reroll be S tier? No, I don't. Akali, another champion that's really been struggling, but this should help warriors in their early game as well as Pyro. So Akali's dash AD percent is going to go up.
Yeah, so maybe actually Warrior is now playable again. It wasn't really playable last patch. I mean, Sugarcraft Warrior was fine, but you didn't play Akali and Neela, so now maybe it's even possible to play these two champs. That would be great.
And Tristana, kind of basically the item carrier for Callista. You basically...
But also for Blaster. I mean, she's also a perfect item carrier for Smolder. For Blaster.
Put your Callista items on Tristana and try to lose as little as you can. But we're going to buff Tristana to make sure that she maybe herself could actually still be playable. So Tristana getting a small nudge here. Jinx. Jinx is going to get a change here. We saw 6 Hunter get nerfed. We saw some of the frontline get changed here. So Jinx is going to get compensated for that because we do want Jinx to be playable. A small 3 AD buff should help Jinx a little bit. Katarina, basically the fake unit of Fairy. Warrior kind of struggles a little bit as well. So Katarina is going to get a buff here where
6 Warrior should be strong.
To her spell take a little extra damage. This should allow her to get a couple more kills. So, yep. On the small side, Bard helping Preserver and Scholar just a little bit. So again, very small nudge. This isn't even 5% basically. And then Swain kind of helping Frost here. Swain's going to...
Wait. Spell damage? Is it a buff or a nerf? Like spell damage? 110? He gets less or he deals less?
And Scholar just a little...
Wait.
On the small side, Bard helping Preserver and Scholar just a little bit. So again, very small nudge. This isn't even 5% basically.
But is he receiving less damage or dealing less damage? Because from 110 to 105, is it a buff?
And then Swain kind of helping Frost.
Am I stupid?
Here. Swain's going to be able to get repeat casts a little quicker.
Maybe we need to check the comments on that because this is very interesting. Bard? Oh, nobody is talking about Bard. So, is he receiving spell damage? Hold him. Let me know.
Again, do I think this is going to be Swain being super strong? Nope. But it's a small nudge. And yes,
but Swain was quite powerful, like I already said, like Swain 3 with BT and Archangel Staff was good, was playable.
The Bard numbers should be red.
Nope, not a first though. That's true.
Here. Oops. My bad. Okay, 4 costs.
What did he say?
But it's a small nudge. And yes, the Bard numbers should be red here. Oops.
Ah, there he is. There he's talking in. Okay, red. Yeah, it's a nerf. It's definitely a nerf.
My bad. Okay, 4 costs. Let's talk about the big one. Rakan. It's funny. If you go back and look at all the responses to the last patch notes where we gutted the Guardian armor and gutted everything else, people were like, oh, Rakan's not going to be playable. They've over-nerfed it.
Still pretty viable. Yep.
He's still a beast. He's still tanking 20,000 damage a turn. It's still super unfun to play against. It sucks. It's really unfun.
Rakan, in literally any comp, was the struggle for Sugarcraft. If somebody hit a very good Fairy comp or a very early full itemized Rakan 2, it was impossible for me to beat these players with Sugarcraft Warrior. It was impossible. The positioning, everything doesn't matter. My units end up on being stuck on Rakan and he's tanking them until they're all dead. It's insane. Last patch, even though they made this huge nerf, incredible unit.
Fun. So
I mean, I'm happy because I'm a Rakan enjoyer, as you can tell by my name, but damn, this dude.
So we're going to nerf his shield quite a bit here. 20% max health to 18%. And he's going to lose 20 base on that, so that won't scale. Real talk.
Nice.
I still think he'll be decent, unfortunately. But again, it's the Worlds patch. We can't do a big swing and have everything radically change. But this is the big part of that Fairy Callista line that just holds way too long.
Yeah.
So we're going to nerf Rakan's shield.
Not even with
And
Gwen 2 and
that opens up a few more lines.
Fiora 2.
Get past that.
Yeah.
All right, items. Yep, there's no 5 cost changes. So again, like I said, keeping it small because it is the last competitive patch. Corrupted Vamp Scepter. This basically was Warwick's hero augment. If you got it, you kind of like went up in power way too much. This item is not gone for good. In fact, right now, I think our plan is that it will be back for the next set. But for this set, really only having one user really wasn't great. So it's going to go away. We don't need it turning into a 2-1 lottery of whoever gets Corrupted Vamp Scepter gets a first. It's not a really good way to have a competitive patch. So it's going to be gone. That's why I said Warwick got buffed. Mogul's Mail, little underperforming since we lowered the gold to that 9 seconds. So it's going to get 2 HP per stack back.
Ooh.
Unstable Treasure Chest. This item is so fun and so bad. So we're going to have it give you an extra item.
Wow,
That's open, you're going to get 4 items instead of 3.
That's a good buff.
That should make it a lot better. Hopefully enough to be good. So we'll see. Zephyr. Zephyr is giving a bunch of team attack speed. It's still very good. Really good at countering things like your Wukong frontline or even your Rakan frontline.
What, this is crazy, right? 8% to 2% attack speed buff? I mean, now you basically only have this knock up for like 4 seconds or 5 seconds it was. Makes it definitely way worse. I mean, it was an incredibly strong item, especially with the speed attack speed boost. I had it once, I don't know. I randomly got it, I think, in my Hunter Jinx comp when I played it, and I didn't hit 3-star Wukong and 3-star Jinx. The Sapphire, like, just won me the game, basically.
Line. So Zephyr's going to lose a little bit of team attack speed.
A little bit?
And then finally,
that's 6%.
Zhonya's is a really strong item. There's a bunch of really good users for it. Gwen, Ryze, stuff like that.
But it should also be very powerful. I mean, it's like you trade a whole augment to get it guaranteed. And you have to go like whole augment, like for example, what to forge or something to actually get to it. It should be good. But okay, it's 5 AP. I think it's not a lot.
So we're just going to lower the AP on it a little bit here, so it's not quite as powerful.
Interesting. Still people will go though.
On the augment side, just going to blow through these really quick. This is all of them. Balance Budget Plus gets an extra gold a turn.
Nice.
It's still not going to be an S tier augment. Category 5, little less damage. Really, really good on people like Callista. That augment's very good, so getting nerfed. Cauterize no longer appears on 2-1. We tried it. It's terrible. Fixed it. Combat Caster has been strong for a long time. The shield duration is going to go down to 3 seconds, so you can't just have a bunch of extra health. Fast Forward, this is the Chrono Augment. Also no longer appears on 2-1. Pretty bad at 2-1 unless you're playing Deep Chrono. Hunting Frenzy, this is another Hunter nerf. One of those things that elevated Hunters really, really well. 5% less attack speed. Learning Dispel, another S tier augment, especially with mages being good like Soraka and Seraphine. So 6% less base AP. Little Buddies. This is another one that was helping things like Ryze and Callista. This augment was way too good. Has been for a while. So it's going to get 2% less attack speed per buddy. So this augment should go down in power with those comps. Raid Boss. You're going to see the tooltip change. The tooltip now says when other units die instead of when bastions die. This is not a change to its functionality. This is how it's always worked. So the augment itself functionally
never seen it though.
The tooltip was just lying to you. Sorry. Royal Guard, the healing is going to go down. Another nerf to the fairy. When they get those augments, they're just really hard to kill. And then finally on the prismatic side, Assassin's Toolbox and Support Golem. Support Golem post-nerf and Assassin's Toolbox all set have basically been unplayable augments. So going to take them out for now so that people don't...
I've seen some people picking Assassin's Toolbox. They went straight 8 or 7th. Like, no chance. These... Just not good. This Crawler's Claw, I think it's called. It's just not great. And Support Golem too. I mean, it's so disappointing that this very nice, interesting, randomized item spending bonus unit is gone, or like only gives less items. Just makes it not worth. Like for me, as somebody who is an absolute econ fan, it's good that it's gone. It's just annoying that you get it. You feel like one of your augment spots is lost.
Feel like they're down an augment slot. at the Worlds competition. So, yeah.
Yeah, there he said it, yeah. I felt the same. Whenever I got it, I was disappointed that one of my augment slots was gone.
All right, 5.5 revival real quick.
Okay, I think this is not relevant for us, so that's it with the patch notes for now. Maybe a short review of all of it. I don't think that it's crazy changes like you already announced, but I think Warriors definitely more playable. I think we're gonna try it today, the games later. And I think Sugarcraft got some nerfs, especially with Bard and Rumble going down. Jinx a little bit more powerful, but Jinx is not the main unit in Sugarcraft, so not really sure how it will perform. And especially I think the split now, like, or the pivot potential in Sugarcraft is not that crazy anymore, because I'm not sure if it's really worth it to pivot from Sugarcraft into Jinx, Hunter, or anything else from that. I think if we play Sugarcraft, we now have to stick to it. So we will see that, but I'm definitely gonna try out some Hunter games. Very interesting patch here, really liked it. So tell me in the comments what you think. You think my analytics are correct? Have you already experienced different stuff? Let me know that, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Peace.